What if I told you that every billionaire, every self-made millionaire, every person who's ever broken through financial barriers has used one ancient secret that goes against everything you've been taught about money? What if the very thing keeping you broke isn't your lack of opportunities, connections, or even capital, but something much deeper? Florence Scovel discovered this mind-bending truth over a century ago, and it's been suppressed by the financial elite ever since. Because when ordinary people learn this secret, they stop being dependent on the system. They stop begging for raises, stop settling for scraps, and start attracting wealth like a magnet. This isn't about working harder, hustling more, or even investing smarter. This is about a spiritual law that operates whether you believe in it or not. But when you do understand it, everything changes overnight. Your bank account, your opportunities, even the way money flows to you becomes completely different. The ultra-wealthy have been using this for generations, passing it down in secret societies and private circles. But today, you're going to learn what they don't want the masses to know. Get ready to discover why faith must come before finances, and how this one shift will revolutionize your entire financial reality forever. The billion-dollar lie that's keeping you broke. Here's the uncomfortable truth that no financial advisor will ever tell you. You've been programmed to fail financially before you even started. Every piece of conventional money advice you've ever received is designed to keep you trapped in a system of scarcity, dependency, and limitation. Think about it. You're told to save for retirement in 40 years, to work your way up the corporate ladder one tiny promotion at a time, to be grateful for whatever crumbs the economy throws your way. You're taught that money is scarce, that you have to compete with everyone else for the limited pie, and that only the lucky few ever truly prosper. But Florence Scovel shattered this lie completely. She discovered that the entire financial system operates on one fundamental deception: the belief that your external circumstances determine your internal reality, that your bank account determines your worth, that your current situation predicts your future possibilities. This is exactly backwards from how wealth actually works. The secret that billionaires know but never share is this: your internal reality creates your external circumstances. Your beliefs about money determine what shows up in your bank account. Your faith in abundance or scarcity literally programs the universe to deliver more of whatever you believe. Warren Buffett once said, "Someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." But he never told you what kind of tree to plant. The tree isn't a stock portfolio or a business plan. It's a belief system. It's faith in divine provision that operates beyond human logic. When you look at your current financial situation, the bills, the debt, the empty bank account, and decide that this is just temporary, that you're destined for something greater, that provision is already on its way, you activate a spiritual law that most people never discover. But here's where it gets dangerous for the status quo. When you stop believing that money is scarce, you stop accepting scarcity wages. When you stop believing that you have to struggle, you stop participating in struggle. When you start believing that abundance is your birthright, you become impossible to control. The financial elite need you to believe in limitation because your limitation funds their expansion. They need you to think small because your small thinking keeps them big. They need you to stay afraid because your fear keeps you dependent on their system. Florence Scovel figured this out in the early 1900s, and her teachings spread like wildfire until they were systematically suppressed. Why? Because when people understand that faith precedes finances, they stop being victims of economic circumstances and start becoming creators of financial miracles. This isn't just spiritual theory. This is practical spiritual technology. When you shift from believing, "I can't afford it," to believing, "Money flows to me easily," you reprogram your subconscious mind to notice opportunities, attract people, and magnetize resources that were always there but invisible to your scarcity. Mindset. The billion-dollar lie is that you need permission to prosper, that you need certain credentials, connections, or capital before you can expect abundance. But the truth is, you need faith first. You need to believe before you receive. You need to speak prosperity before you see prosperity. Every single morning, millions of people wake up and immediately check their bank accounts to determine how they should feel about their day. They let numbers on a screen dictate their emotional state, their confidence level, and their expectations for the future. This is spiritual slavery disguised as financial responsibility. But when you understand that your bank account is just a reflection of your belief system, everything changes. When you realize that your current financial situation is just feedback on your past thinking, you stop being intimidated by it and start being excited about changing it. The wealthy don't. Think about money the way poor people do. They don't check their accounts with anxiety. They check them with expectation. They don't speak about money with fear. They speak about it with authority. They don't relate to money as something outside of them that they have to chase. They relate to it as something within them that they attract. This is the billion-dollar lie exposed. You were never meant to struggle financially. Struggle is a choice based on a belief in limitation. Abundance is your natural state when you align with spiritual truths. And this alignment begins the moment you decide that faith comes before finances. Your words are creating your poverty. Right now, as you read this, you might be unknowingly casting spells of poverty over your own life. Every time you speak, you're not just communicating, you're creating. Your words are literally programming your reality. And if you're struggling financially, I can guarantee you've been speaking the wrong language. Florence Scovel understood something that modern science is just beginning to prove. Words carry vibrational frequency. Every word you speak sends out an energetic signal that the universe must respond to. When you say, "I can't afford it," you're not just stating a fact. You're issuing a command to your subconscious mind and the spiritual realm around you. Think about the phrases you use every single day. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'm broke. I never have enough. Bills, bills, bills. I can't catch a break. Each of these statements is a spiritual decree that reinforces poverty consciousness and blocks abundance from flowing to you. But here's what will blow your mind. The universe doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It only responds to what you focus on and speak about most consistently. When you constantly talk about not having money, the universe hears money and focuses on this situation and delivers more of the same experience. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others work twice as hard, but stay stuck. It's not about intelligence, education, or even opportunity. It's about the spiritual language they're speaking every day. The most successful people on earth have mastered the art of speaking from their desired outcome rather than their current circumstances. They don't say, "I can't afford it." They say, "How can I afford it?" They don't say, "I'm broke." They say, "Money flows to me from multiple sources." They don't say, "Things never work out for me." They say, "Everything always works out for my highest good." This isn't just positive thinking or wishful imagination. This is spiritual law in action. When you speak abundance, you activate abundance. When you speak provision, you invoke provision. When you speak from faith instead of fear, you align your vibration with wealth consciousness. But most people are walking around casting poverty spells on themselves and don't even realize it. They complain about their financial situation to anyone who will listen, reinforcing their lack through repetition. They scroll through social media saying, "Must be nice," when they see others' success, affirming their separation from abundance. They joke about being broke, not realizing that the universe takes every word seriously. Florence Scovel taught that you must become conscious of every word that comes out of your mouth, especially regarding money and provision. She discovered that when you change your language, you change your life. When you shift from speaking problems to speaking solutions, the universe begins to deliver different results. Here's a powerful exercise that will revolutionize your financial reality. For the next 30 days, catch yourself every time you speak limitation and immediately replace it with abundance language. Instead of, "I can't afford it," say, "I choose not to purchase this right now, but money comes to me easily." Instead of, "I'm broke," say, "I'm in a temporary cash flow situation, but my supply is unlimited." Instead of, "Money is tight," say, "Money is circulating freely in my life." This isn't about denying reality or living in fantasy. This is about speaking to the reality you're creating rather than the reality you're experiencing. When you consistently speak abundance, 3 things happen. First, your subconscious mind begins to search for evidence to support your new statements. Second, your emotional state shifts from anxiety to expectation. Third, your actions begin to align with someone who expects prosperity rather than someone who expects struggle. The wealthy understand that their words are their most powerful wealth-building tool. They speak confidently about money because they understand that confidence attracts opportunity. They speak gratefully about their resources because they understand that gratitude multiplies blessings. They speak expectantly about their future because they understand that expectation is a form of faith that activates divine provision. Your current financial vocabulary has been programming your financial reality. But starting today, you can reprogram everything by simply changing the words you speak. Stop cursing your money and start blessing it. Stop speaking lack and start declaring abundance. Stop describing your limitations and start describing your expansion. Remember, the universe is always listening and your words are always creating. Make sure you're creating what you actually want. The surrender secret that multiplies money. This next truth is going to challenge everything you've been taught about building wealth, but it's the most powerful financial principle ever discovered. Are you ready? The fastest way to multiply your money is to give it away. I know what you're thinking. Give away money when I barely have enough. That's insane. But Florence Scovel uncovered a spiritual law that operates beyond human logic. Whatever you surrender to divine order gets multiplied back to you in ways you could never orchestrate yourself. This isn't about religious obligation or guilt-driven giving. This is about understanding how the spiritual economy works. In the physical world, when you give something away, you have less. But in the spiritual realm, when you give something away in faith, you have more. This paradox has created more millionaires than any investment strategy ever could. Look at every billionaire on the planet. They're all massive givers. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey. They give away billions because they understand something most people don't. Giving is not depletion, it's multiplication. When you give from a heart of abundance rather than obligation, you create a vacuum that the universe must fill. But here's the key that most people miss. It's not about the amount you give. It's about the faith behind the giving. When a widow gives her last 2 coins with complete trust in divine provision, that creates more spiritual momentum than a millionaire giving thousands out of his excess. The energy behind the gift is what activates the multiplication. Florence Scovel discovered that hoarding creates stagnation, but circulation creates acceleration. When you hold on to money too tightly out of fear, you actually repel more money from coming to you. But when you release money with trust and expectation, you signal to the universe that you believe in abundance, and abundance responds by flowing more freely through your life. This principle works because giving shifts your identity from someone who needs money to someone who has enough to share. That identity shift is everything. When you see yourself as a giver rather than a getter, you start attracting people, opportunities, and resources that want to support givers. You become a magnet for financial miracles. Think about it this way. If you were going to invest in someone's business or give someone an opportunity, would you choose someone who was desperate and grasping, or someone who was generous and confident? The universe operates the same way. It invests in people who demonstrate abundance consciousness through their actions. But this doesn't mean giving recklessly or out of manipulation. The surrender secret works when your giving is guided by spiritual intuition, not emotional guilt. When you feel inspired to give, that's your signal. When you feel pressured or obligated, that's not the right energy. True surrender happens when you release something joyfully, knowing that it's creating space for something even better. One of the most powerful forms of surrender is tithing, giving a percentage of your income before you pay any bills or expenses. This demonstrates ultimate faith in divine provision. You're essentially saying, I trust that God is my source, not my job. I trust that when I honor the spiritual law of giving, I'll be taken care of in ways that go beyond my salary. Thousands of people have testified that their income increased dramatically after they started tithing consistently. Not because giving is magical, but because giving aligns your heart with abundance consciousness. When you give first, you operate from overflow rather than scarcity. That shift in consciousness attracts different opportunities, different people, and different results. The surrender secret also applies to non-monetary giving. When you give your time, talents, and energy freely, you create the same multiplication effect. Volunteer work, helping others, sharing your skills. All of these are forms of surrender that signal abundance consciousness to the universe. Here's what's really beautiful about this principle. When you start giving consistently, you stop being afraid of money. Fear of not having enough disappears because you're constantly proving to yourself that there's always more where that came from. You develop an unshakable faith in divine supply that becomes more valuable than any bank account. The wealthy understand that money is energy, and energy must flow to grow. When you dam up the flow by hoarding, you stop the natural circulation that brings increase. But when you keep money moving through acts of faith and generosity, you become a channel for unlimited supply. Start small if you need to, but start somewhere. Give something in faith today and watch how the universe responds to your surrender. Divine alignment, the billionaire's best-kept secret. Every billionaire operates from a secret that they rarely talk about publicly, but it's the real reason for their extraordinary success. It's not their business acumen, their networking skills, or even their work ethic, though all of those matter. It's their alignment with divine flow. They've learned to think, speak, and act in harmony with spiritual laws that govern abundance. Florence Scovel called this divine alignment, and it's the difference between those who struggle for every dollar and those who seem to attract wealth effortlessly. When you're in alignment, you're not fighting against the current, you're flowing with it. You're not forcing outcomes, you're allowing them. You're not chasing money, you're attracting it. Divine alignment begins with understanding that abundance is your natural state. Scarcity is learned, but prosperity is programmed into your spiritual DNA. When you align with this truth, everything changes. Your thoughts shift from, how can I get money, dixties, to how can I serve in a way that naturally attracts abundance. Your focus moves from personal lack to divine supply. Most people operate out of alignment without realizing it. They pray for increase but speak decrease. They desire prosperity, but dwell on problems. They hope for miracles, but act out of panic. This internal contradiction creates resistance that blocks the flow of abundance. But when your thoughts, words, emotions, and actions all point in the same direction, toward faith in divine provision, you become an unstoppable force for prosperity. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't seem stressed about money. even when they're building something new. They don't panic when faced with challenges. They have an inner calm that comes from knowing they're supported by something greater than themselves. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. They've tuned their inner frequency to match the frequency of abundance. Here's how divine alignment works practically. When you're aligned, you make decisions from peace, not panic. You don't chase every opportunity that comes your way. You discern which ones are truly meant for you. You don't force outcomes through manipulation or desperation. You move with inspired wisdom. You don't hoard resources out of fear. You circulate them with confidence. Alignment also means your timing becomes supernatural. You show up at the right place at the right time, not through luck, but through divine orchestration. You meet the right people, discover the right opportunities, and receive the right ideas because you're in sync with a higher intelligence that's always working on your behalf. One of the most powerful aspects of divine alignment is emotional mastery. When you're aligned, you don't let external circumstances dictate your internal state. A delayed payment doesn't make you panic. A temporary setback doesn't make you doubt. A closed door doesn't make you despair. Why? Because you know that everything is working together for your good, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Florence Scovel taught that alignment requires daily recalibration. Every morning, you check in with your thoughts. Are they focused on abundance or scarcity? You examine your words. Are they declarations of faith or confessions of fear? You assess your emotions. Are you operating from love or from lack? This conscious awareness keeps you in the flow of divine provision. The most successful entrepreneurs will tell you that their biggest breakthroughs came not from working harder, but from getting clearer on their purpose and aligning their actions with their values. When your business serves a higher purpose beyond just making money, the universe conspires to support your success. Money becomes a byproduct of your alignment, not the primary goal. Alignment also means you stop trying to control everything and start trusting divine timing. Some of the best opportunities come disguised as delays, detours, or even disappointments. When you're aligned, you understand that what looks like a setback might actually be a setup for something even better. This doesn't mean you become passive or lazy. Divine alignment is actually more powerful than human effort alone because you're working with spiritual laws instead of against them. You take inspired action rather than desperate action. You move with purpose rather than panic. You build with wisdom rather than worry. The billionaires who understand this secret don't just have more money. They have more peace, more joy, and more fulfillment because their wealth comes from alignment rather than anxiety. They've learned that when you're aligned with divine purpose, abundance becomes inevitable rather than accidental. Starting today, make alignment your priority over achievement and watch how achievement naturally follows. The abundance activation, your new financial operating system. Everything you've learned so far has been preparing you for this moment, the complete transformation of your financial operating system. You're about to discover how to activate abundance consciousness so powerfully that money becomes magnetically attracted to you, opportunities seek you out, and prosperity becomes your new normal. Florence Scovel understood that most people are running an outdated mental software when it comes to money. They're operating from lack programming installed by society, family, and past experiences. But just like you can upgrade your phone's operating system for better performance, you can upgrade your financial consciousness for better results. Your new abundance operating system has 5 core programs. Program 1, identity shift. Stop seeing yourself as someone who needs money and start seeing yourself as someone money flows through. You're not a beggar hoping for scraps. You're a vessel of divine prosperity. You're not struggling to survive. You're designed to thrive. This identity shift changes everything. because the universe responds to who you believe you are, not who you appear to be. Program 2. Expectation elevation. Raise your expectation ceiling. Most people expect just enough to get by, so that's exactly what they receive. But when you start expecting abundance, overflow, and supernatural provision, the universe rises to meet your expectations. Wake up each day expecting something good to happen financially. Go to sleep each night expecting increase to come while you rest. Program 3. Gratitude amplification. Become aggressively grateful for money in all its forms. Thank God for the dollars in your wallet, the bills you can pay, the opportunities you have, and even the challenges that are making you stronger. Gratitude is the fastest way to multiply what you already have, because appreciation activates acceleration. Program 4. Circulation activation. Keep money moving through your life with wisdom and generosity. Don't hoard out of fear, but don't spend out of impulse either. Become a conscious conduit for divine resources. Give joyfully, receive gracefully, and trust that the more you circulate, the more circulates back to you. Program 5. Faith integration. Make faith your default mode instead of fear. When challenges arise, your first response should be, "God's got this," rather than, "I'm doomed." When opportunities appear, your first thought should be, "I'm being blessed," rather than, "This is too good to be true." Let faith become so natural that fear has nowhere to land in your consciousness. Here's your abundance activation protocol. Every morning for the next 30 days, spend 10 minutes programming your new financial operating system. Speak these declarations with absolute conviction. I am a magnet for money and miracles. Divine. Abundance flows to me easily and consistently. I expect supernatural provision today. I am grateful for all the wealth circulating through my life. I give and receive with joy and confidence. Money seeks me out because I'm aligned with prosperity consciousness. Then take one faith-based action every day. Send that proposal you've been postponing. Apply for that opportunity you thought you weren't qualified for. Give that donation you felt prompted to make. Start that business you've been dreaming about. Faith without action is dead, but action without faith is struggle. Throughout the day, catch yourself whenever you slip back into scarcity thinking and immediately correct course. Replace "I can't afford it" with "money comes to me easily." Replace "I'm broke" with "I'm redirecting my resources wisely." Replace "things never work out" with "everything always works out for my good." Before bed, review your day and celebrate every evidence of abundance, no matter how small. That unexpected check, that helpful conversation, that money-saving opportunity, that moment of peace about your finances, acknowledge it all. What you appreciate appreciates. Remember, this isn't about positive thinking your way to wealth while ignoring practical wisdom. This is about aligning your inner world with spiritual truths so your outer world can reflect divine abundance. Take inspired action, make wise decisions, and serve others excellently. But do it all from a foundation of faith rather than fear. The wealthy don't just have more money. They think differently about money. They expect it, appreciate it, circulate it, and trust it. They see money as a tool for good rather than a source of evil. They relate to abundance as their birthright rather than a distant dream. Your abundance activation starts now. You are not a victim of economic circumstances. You are a creator of financial reality. You are not dependent on external conditions. You are connected to unlimited supply. You are not meant to struggle with money. You are designed to flow with abundance. Activate your new operating system and watch your financial world transform in ways you never thought possible. Your abundance is not just coming. It's already here, waiting for you to align with it completely.